In this video, we're going to be looking at document loaders. Document loaders. Oh, okay. I need to get my pen. So we're going to be looking at document loaders. Okay, I definitely don't want that to be orange. Sorry, let me get pen, black, not yellow, black. So we're going to be looking at document loaders in this video. Document loaders in LangChain. Now, why do we need document loaders, or why do we need to load documents? RAG is almost a default required feature of any kind of LLM-powered applications today. RAG, that's Retrieval Augmented Generation. It's basically a must-have in any kind of full-featured LLM-powered application, because you would definitely want to source information from a special source, not just the model's knowledge base. The model's knowledge base cannot do everything for you. So you want to source information from company documents, you want to source information from the web, there's some PDF files you want to source information from, and you have to be able to find a way, or you have a database you want to source information from, and you have to be able to find a way to access those repositories and bring them into the model, use it to augment the model's prompts so that the model can generate responses based on those factual information, based on those peculiar domain information. So RAG has different steps. RAG has different steps, as some of you already know. There's the step of loading the documents. So you load, then you split the document into chunks. You split the document into chunks. Then you store the documents into a vector database. So this is where the vector database is coming. So you do that. Then you, for the generation itself, all these are just the loading part. For the generation itself, you have to be able to retrieve relevant documents. You have to be able to retrieve the relevant documents. So let's say you load an entire PDF, let's say like a 300-page PDF, and you ask a question about something within the PDF. You should be able to retrieve only the chunks that are required in that PDF. You are not going to load the entire PDF back into memory. No, that's not even going to be good for your context window. So you have to be able to retrieve the relevant chunks. So this is what RAG is all about. This is at different stages of RAG. And in this video, we're going to be looking at this first part, this loading part. We're going to be looking at how to load documents, specifically using a PDF loader. You can load documents, you can load information from the web, you can load information from document, that's Microsoft document files, that's, docs files. You can load information from Google Drive and so many other sources like that, S3 buckets and all, but we're going to be using a PDF in our demo. So, document loading. Implementation in LangChain. I think this is all about, this is basically everything I need to explain when it comes to loading documents. So the next thing we're going to do is to go into VS Code and see how we can load documents in LangChain. So back in VS Code, I've created this folder called document loaders. Probably should have called it document loading. I've created this document loaders folder, and as you can see, there's a PDF inside called marketing.pdf. The PDF I got from HubSpot on, I think, marketing, social media marketing also. Digital marketing, basically. Pros and cons of different digital marketing strategies. That's what is inside this PDF. So, I don't know, can I open it from here? Yeah, well, cool. I can open it from VS Code, right? Okay, nothing is loading for now. But cool. So I have this HubSpot, very lovely PDF that was created. So different types of ads. Different types of ads. Social media ads, Google search ads, video ads, print ads, direct mail, billboard. So it just kind of gives the cost implications and pros and cons of each of the strategies. So that's what the document is all about. So that you will know what we are loading, and especially when we want to retrieve stuff from it, you will know what we are trying to retrieve. So these are our document, and we want to load it. So I'm going to create a new file. Now, in this demo, we're going to be loading synchronously. We're going to be loading asynchronously. Then to wrap up the demo, just for the fun of it, I'm going to show you how we can get the loaded documents into a vector store, we can embed it and get into a vector store, and we can actually query it. That would be super fun. So yeah, we're going to be doing that too. So let me just say loading PDF. Let's just call it loading PDF .py or load PDF.py. So this will be the file for the synchronous load. We have this in place. Let me pull up the command line. First, before we even pull up the command line, first let us create a virtual environment. Let's create a Python virtual environment for this project. So yeah, venv Python 3.11. So I have that in place. So yeah, we have our virtual environment created. That's cool. Now when I pull up the command line, we have our .venv here, which shows that our virtual environment is active. You want to make sure you activate that based on your operating system. So we're going to be installing two packages. Or should I say 3 packages? Yeah, 3 packages. We're going to be installing LangChain, obviously. Then we're also going to install LangChain community. LangChain community, because that's where all the loaders, the loaders come from. All the loading utilities that LangChain comes with, they basically come from LangChain community. So we need that for the PDF loader. Then we're also going to be installing PyPDF. Is a dependency for the PDF loader. So we're going to be installing PyPDF. So in one full swoop, let us say pip install LangChain community, and PyPDF. So LangChain community, and PyPDF. Let's go. Oh, unknown command LangChain. Oh, sorry. I didn't put install. Yeah, my bad. So pip install. Yeah, pip install. Okay, I almost thought we were starting to get some of those demo errors that always show up when you want to run demos. So we're installing those. I don't know how long it's going to take. If it takes too long, I'm just going to cut this video. You know, the magic of editing. I'm just going to cut this video and come right. Yeah, it's done. Imagine. I was talking so much that it came. So it's done. And yeah, we have our dependencies, which is pretty cool. So we have our dependencies to run this. Now, inside our file, the first thing I'm going to do is bring in PyPDF. So I'm going to say from LangChain community, .document loaders. That's where the PyPDF loader is. From LangChain community.document loaders, import PyPDF loader. Yeah, PyPDF loader. So from LangChain community document loaders, import PyPDF loader. So we have that in place, which is pretty cool. And I'm going to create a variable that will just point to my marketing file. So sorry, just say that equals marketing.pdf. So yeah. So marketing.pdf. Then we're going to create a loader. Yeah, we're going to create a loader. To create a loader, I'm just going to say loader equals, and I'm going to call the PyPDF loader. And this will simply take my file path. Pretty cool. I have my loader at hand, and whenever I want to load my pages, I'm just going to say loader and call the load method. Now, for every type of loader in LangChain implements this load method. So whether you're using a web loader, we're using a database loader, any type of loader, they implement this load method. So we have load, the load, and yeah, this pages then contains all our page chunks. So I can simply just print that out so that we can see what we have. So print pages. Now this extracts text. There are different strategies for working with tables, images, and stuff like that. But this is going to give us all the text in the PDF. So say print pages. And now let us open our command line. And I can run Python load pdf.py. Python load pdf.py. So let us run that. Let me put this command line up a little bit because it will dump a bunch of stuff on the page. Or in the console, rather. So load up. The file is, I don't know how big the file is, but yeah. So yeah, it loads it up. It loads it up into a list of page array objects. Let's look at them. So it starts here. Document. Yeah. So a list of documents. So the type is documents. Each single chunk of text is a document rather. So it loads all these documents into a full list, and this list contains all the text in the page, even with all the new line characters and stuff. And just as with a typical list, we can say pages, and let's say we access the fifth indexed item, or this is the sixth index item because it starts from 0. So it's sixth index item, and we can say .page content. If we want to see the content of this particular document, we can say .page content. So if I clear this command line, no, not here. Back to the command line, and we say clear, and I run the file once again. You see, it just gives me that page. It just gives me what is on that page. Just that. Yeah. Just what is on that page. And that is for the print newspaper and magazine ads. Print newspaper and magazine ads. It gets me the costs, the pros, and the cons. Pros and the cons. And yeah, that's basically what is on that page. And it gets it for me. One thing we can also get is the page metadata. There's some interesting metadata that comes along with loaders, and there are some cool ones that come with PDF loaders too. So metadata, maybe I should just comment this out so that we can just see the metadata only, and this other piece of information doesn't get in the way. So we can get metadata for this exact page document. Let's load this once again. And you see, it tells us the producer of this document is Adobe PDF Library 5.0, the creator Adobe InDesign 16.3 on the Macintosh, creation date, modification date, trapped, I don't know what that means. Source is marketing.pdf, where we loaded from. The total pages on the PDF itself is 9, and what we're accessing is currently on the index page 5, but the page label is page 6. Awesome. So that's how to load PDFs. That's how you load PDFs. Now let us look at how we can load them asynchronously. Because these load functions, they have, there's also some variants. There's lazy load, and there's async lazy load, which we're going to be using in the next demo. So let us see how we can load documents asynchronously for whatever that might be required for in your application. To do that, I'm going to create another file. Here we'll say lazy load PDF. Lazy load PDF.py. Is load PDF.py. We're going to be using the same marketing PDF, so hope you are having fun with that. So to begin this file, first I'm going to bring the PDF loader that we imported here. Let's get that in. That's cool. Then because I'm going to be running an asynchronous operation, I will also be needing some help from our good friend Asyncio. So with Asyncio in place, I'm going to create an async function. And we're going to call this async function load PDF document. Load PDF document. Good. Load PDF document. First, let's set the file path. File path equals marketing.pdf. And next, let us have our loader. PyPDF loader. And let us give it the file path. Yeah. Give it the file path. PyPDF loader, and we have our loader in place, which is pretty good. Now let's hold an empty list for our pages because we're going to be looping over them. We're going to be loading them, and so as the chunks come, we're going to be adding them to this pages list. So let us come here, and now we say async for page in loader.aLazyLoad. Async lazy load. So we call the asynchronous lazy loader on our lazy load function on our loader so that it gets loaded lazily and asynchronously. So for this, we're just going to append our page. Before appending, first let me even print the page that comes out. So let's say we'll print page, then we'll say pages dot append page. So pages dot append page. We print our page and we say pages dot append page. Then we can come down here and say asyncio dot run and basically give it our load PDF document function. So asyncio dot run. What's having an error here? Oh, import. Sorry, import. Yeah, not set from import asyncio. So we have asyncio in place, and it's going to help us to run our. By the way, what is the correct pronunciation of asyncio? Is it asyncio, asyncio? Oh, anyway, yeah. Anyway, whatever you choose is fine. So asyncio is going to help us load this, and we're going to be pulling out the pages one by one because it lazy loads it, meaning it loads it gradually, and as the pages come in, it's just going to print it out and also append it to our pages variable. So let us run this. Let's go command line open, and now let us run Python lazy load PDF. Python lazy load PDF. Let me pull this up very well, and let's see what happens here. So it just loops over, very fast process. It loads it, and you see how as it's looping over and giving us each page. And yeah, we have each of our pages one by one. Let's see. Let me do this. Let's see if we can put a. Let's do f string page variable. Then let's do something fun here. Let's put a new line, and let's put some dash. Yeah. So let's do this. So page, yeah, it should be good. Or something, yeah, this is fine. New line, then it does the dash. Yeah. So let's run this again and see if we get our pages separated so that we can see them one by one. I'll say clear. And let us run this. Yeah, you see? I love how we put each page. It says page content, transit, billboard, subway ads, and it just gives us what is there. So here, this is page content, direct mail ads. Awesome. So yeah, that's how we load asynchronously. That's how you load asynchronously. So if you need to process the page chunks gradually, you don't want to process it at once, yeah, use the lazy loading and asynchronous style for loading in your pages from the document source. Now, like I said, we're going to be doing something fun in the next section. We're going to take our loaded documents, then we're going to embed them. We're going to embed them using an embeddings model. We're going to embed them and store it in a vector database. Then we are going to ask that vector database a query, and it's going to return results for us from the marketing PDF, basically asking our PDF questions. So stay tuned for that next section coming right up. So in order to get our loaded document into a vector store, we'll need to embed it. And for that, we'll need an embeddings model. We have been using OpenAI, or rather, I've been using OpenAI throughout this LangChain series, so we're still going to use OpenAI. So for this, we need to install the LangChain OpenAI package. LangChain OpenAI. And we also install OpenAI. So we install LangChain OpenAI and we install OpenAI. So we have those installed. We have them in place. And what we're going to be doing in this section is that we're going to be embedding our document. We're going to turn our document into embeddings, because embeddings is what models understand. They don't understand all this plain text that we have been seeing so far. They understand embeddings. So we have to take them, embed them into vectors, and put those vectors into a vector store. Then we we then query our vector store. Which is the intermediate process in RAG. Because when the user types a prompt, the prompt is going to go to the vector store first. The vector store is then going to retrieve the relevant documents that build context for that prompt. That is now going to be wrapped around the prompt, sent to the model as the final prompt, and then the model can process it and generate a response based on factual data that has been used to provide context for the main prompt. So let us see how to work with a vector store. First, we're going to go back to our first example. So we're just going to be refactoring this example. I'm going to go back to this example. And from this example, the first thing I'm going to do is set up the model. So I'll say from LangChain, OpenAI, import OpenAI embeddings. OpenAI, the E is capital. Embeddings. Oh, I keep missing that. Embeddings. Cool. So OpenAI embeddings, yeah, you don't need to pass any kind of specific model. You know, it knows what to do. He knows what to do. So from LangChain OpenAI, import OpenAI embeddings. That's the first thing we do. We have already loaded our file. Let me comment this out. We've already loaded our document, rather. We've already loaded our marketing PDF file. And the next thing we're going to do is make sure that we have a vector store to put this in. Now, there are very specialized vector stores like Chroma, like Pinecone, and the rest. But this is just a demo, so we're not going to bug ourselves with having to install these vector stores and set them up and do all that. LangChain comes with a development level vector store, which is in memory. It just stores it. It just creates the store in memory and stores vectors there in memory. So we're going to be making use of that. And that's also something that, or rather, that we can get from LangChain core. So I'm just going to bring that in between here. Say LangChain core dot vector stores. So from LangChain core vector stores, we bring in the in memory. I'm having fat fingers this evening. In memory vector store. Did I get that? In memory vector store. Oh, import. Oh, yeah. So import from LangChain core vector stores, import in memory vector store. So now we have our vector store, and we also have the embeddings model that is going to take our loaded documents and embed them into the vector store, store them into the vector store as embeddings. So next, let us just do that step, which is create our vector store with our embedded documents. So I'll say vector store equals in memory. I'm just going to copy this stuff because I don't want to make mistakes again. In memory vector store, and then we're going to call the from documents method. From documents, these are our documents. When we use a loader to load an information store, when we use a loader to load an information store, we get documents. So these are our documents, and we say in memory vector store from documents, and we pass in our document, which is basically the pages. Pass in our documents, and then we pass in the model that is going to help us embed them. That's going to help us convert them into embeddings. And that will be the OpenAI embeddings package. Just put that here. This is going to use the OpenAI embeddings model to embed our documents. So now we have a vector store that consists of embedded documents from our PDF file. So that's cool. That's fine. Now we have done the load stage. I will say also the split stage. Then we embedded. Now we have our vector store in place. And now we can say we can query our embedded documents. We can do a semantic search on our embedded documents. We can tell it, okay, what about social ads? What are the pros and cons of digital of print ads and stuff like that? So let's do that. We're simply going to say for this documents. These are going to be the documents that I retrieve for a particular query. So let me just put a comment here and say query the documents. So this document is a subset of the documents that will be returned based on our query. So here we just say vector store. That's the vector store we just created. vector store.similarity search. We want to do a similarity search. You see, there are other functions like similarity search by vector, similarity search with relevance scores. This can help you to select which one is most relevant. By score, different types, and even some private ones. So for this one, we just need similarity search. And the first argument is going to be what we want to ask our document. So I'm just going to ask it, what are the pros and cons of, let's say, social media ads? What are the pros and cons of social media ads? And for the second argument, I'm just going to pass a k equals to. K is a sampling parameter. And what we're basically, is a top k sampling parameter. And what we're basically telling it is that give us the top 2 results. Just give us just 2. Just top 2. We don't want more than that. So yeah, we get this as documents, and then we can just simply loop over our documents. Say for doc in documents, bring this up to screen. For doc in documents, print doc. No, let's flesh that out a little bit. This looks too sad. Let's say f string. First, tell us the page, so we can get that from doc.metadata, and we'll pick the page property. Then once we have the page, we can then say, you know what, also give us doc.page content. Yeah, page content, just as we did page content. Was it here? Oh, it was in the previous one. Yeah. So give us the page number and the page content. So let's see that. Let me see. Let me put a new line between these two. Yeah, I like to see it on different lines. So page number gives us the page number, then the content below. Okay. Now let's run this. Make sure that your OpenAI key is in place. I've already put it there, so we don't need to see that again. But to add your OpenAI key, you do export OpenAI _API _key, then you set it to your OpenAI API key. Yeah, that's how that is going to work. But for now, let's just make sure that our file is saved and see what we get. We're asking it, what are the pros and cons of social media ads? So we only expect results that are relevant to social media ads. I'll be load pdf.py. Let me pull this up because we're going to get a bunch of stuff. And hit enter. Hope that the demo gods are not against us. And yeah, that's cool. So let's see what we get back. Get this back. And where does it start? Some package stuff. Okay, it starts here. We need to scroll out of scope. So Python load PDF, and it starts here. Page 0. So because we're asking about social media ads, it first picks the first page because the first page talks about social media ads. So it talks about all the ads, advertising types and everything. So it picks that. Then also it picks the second page, which actually has social media ads, which is about social media ads. That's page 2, about social media ads. So it picks the index page 0. Then it picks page 2, which talks about social media ads. Then we get the pros, we get the cost, we get the pros, we get the cons, and yeah. That's everything. That's everything that has to do with social media ads. And it gives us the top 2 relevant ones, which is the first page that talks about all the types of ads. And then page number 2, which is, according to index, is the third page that talks about the cost, pros and cons of social media ads. Fantastic, fantastic. So you can see how this actually gets you context for your prompt. So your model can take this context, take the question that we asked, which is what are the pros and cons of social media ads, merge the two, and be able to use its knowledge base to fashion out a very standard answer that are based on facts and not just based on hallucinations and just random stuff, which is just pretty awesome. So yeah, that is me fulfilling my promise of showing you how to search a loaded PDF.